Hey, this is Sam with the BOU Software Training Lab, and in this video, we're going to talk about adjustments and the Adjustments tab in Procreate. Up in the top left of the Procreate interface, we have these four little icons. The Adjustments tab is the one that looks like a little magic wand. It opens up a list of different effects we can add to our layer. These effects, or adjustments, are destructive, meaning we are actually changing the pixels and can't go back without pressing undo once we commit. The first four adjustments deal with color. These will be pretty similar to things you've seen on Photoshop or other photo editing programs or apps. These are pretty self-explanatory. Curves brings up the curves, color balance brings up the color balance, etc. These are general photo editing tools that you'll find in most photo editing programs. For example, if you want to make something black and white, you apply the hue, saturation, and brightness adjustment and bring the saturation to 0. Gradient maps can be really cool. Gradient maps assign color to the grayscale values of an image. So here I have a black and white image. If I apply a gradient map, Procreate will apply different colors to different values. So the really dark will be one color, and the really light will be another color. You can also create your own gradients. You can tap somewhere on the gradient to make a new color, tap on that to change the color, and tap and hold to delete. The next section is the blur section. Gaussian blur uses some cool masks to make a really smooth blur. Again, you can dial it in to look exactly how you want. Motion blur simulates the natural motion blur you see when something is moving fast. There's a bar at the top that shows how much the adjustment is being applied. I apply the effect more by dragging my finger across the screen. Also, if I move my finger around, I can change the direction of the motion blur. Wherever you tap on the canvas affects how the motion blur moves. I want to highlight this little arrow up at the top. If I click on this arrow, it brings down a drop-down menu that has a layer and a pencil option. The layer option is automatically selected, meaning that this adjustment will affect the entire layer. If you select the pencil option, then the effect will only work where you draw with your pencil. You can also change which brush you're using to apply the effect. The final blur, perspective, blurs the layer away from a point. By tapping and dragging on the point, we can move it around. And to commit to an adjustment, tap on the magic wand again. The next section of adjustments are really just cool, fun effects. Noise adds noise to the image, looking like old static TV. Sharpen will try to make the color changes, light and dark areas, edges, etc., clearer and more obvious. That one's especially good for pictures. Bloom creates an atmospheric glow. Most adjustments have a little menu at the bottom of the screen that you can use to customize how this effect works. Glitch adds a cool technical glitch to your image. There are several different types of glitches at the bottom you can choose from and customize. Halftone is like an old comic book print. Chromatic aberration pulls apart the colors of the image, making some really cool patterns. You can do this both from a point and by displacing the whole thing. These last two are some of my favorites. I'm going to talk about clone first. Clone lets you pick a spot on the canvas and then draw using that spot, almost like a stamp. By dragging this little circle around, you can change where the stamp is. And then I draw, copying or cloning from wherever the source circle is. If I start drawing again in a different spot, it still draws from where the source circle is. This last one is my favorite. Liquify has a ton of different options for how you can change this image, and the developers used a ton of math and programming to make it do really cool things. My favorite, and I think the one that shows this concept the best, is push. Again, you can change and customize pretty much everything about this from the bottom menu, but look at what it does. Isn't that cool? All of these work similarly. Some of these are commonly seen on filters for Snapchat or Instagram, like pinch or expand. And some of these are just cool. Crystals is one of my favorites. One really important piece of this adjustment is the reconstruct tool. The reconstruct tool reverts this image back to how it was before you applied this adjustment. So if you do something too much and want to go back, or if you want an effect to be a little less intense, you can use this tool to bring it back to its original state. Also, adjust lets you adjust the strength of the effect. And reset resets your image. Once you've done all you want to do with an adjustment, you can either tap the magic wand again to get out of it, or you can tap anywhere on the screen with your finger and a little menu pops up. Undo undoes the last thing you did. Reset goes back to how it was before the effect was added, and cancel cancels the adjustment and gets out of the adjustment mode. If you tap and hold preview, it will show you how it looks without the adjustment. And apply lets you apply the adjustment but keeps you in adjustment mode so you can make more changes. And that's adjustment layers in Procreate. In the next video, we'll talk about alpha lock.